I remember as a freshman going through Bowen Fieldhouse and looking up at the wall and seeing the Hall of Famers in there, people like Dave Purifoy and Bobby Welch, Bob Ochinko, and George Gervin. And to think that I'm on that type of stage right now is pretty incredible.
This is indeed an honor, a very, very special day for me.
It's kind of for the inductees, but it's more for the student body. It's an opportunity for them to walk through history and to recognize those athletes that have set a standard for Eastern Michigan.
I can honestly say some of my best times was here at Eastern Michigan wearing that number 30 jersey and competing for the university.
And I honestly have to say my greatest moment wasn't athletically. My wife, Bessie, and my genomic children.
I'd like to thank AMU for this award. It's truly a humbling experience for me.
And so to be inducted into the E-Club Hall of Fame while I'm still alive is really quite an honor.
I owe a great debt of gratitude, naturally to my parents, who when it came time for picking a college, gave me such a firm criteria, pick a place you're going to be happy. I picked Eastern.
We chatted a second. We talked about the old times at EMU. They asked me if I was ever going to return to the NFL. I said, no, I think those days are over. And because those days are over, I thank Eastern Michigan for giving me the opportunity to come here and get an education.
They only demanded excellence from me. They made me realize I was lucky to be a Huron, and they wanted me to treat the uniform with dignity and respect, which I did.
It was then I found out that a Big Ten school was interested in me transferring there. My reply was, you didn't want me last year, you can't have me this year. I'm going to stay at Eastern.
Hey, what's that? Melissa Steele second. And I had to remind Coach O quite a few times that the reason I didn't fall over the fence is so I didn't have Steele second.
As I'm standing up here, I realize all my fears about public speaking were incredibly well-founded.
Actually, I really wanted to say I'm getting inducted for track and not for talking.
To be from the sport of gymnastics and be recognized with NCAA and MAC champions and record holders, professional athletes.
I tell them, it's not where you start, it's where you end.
In closing, I'd like to leave my final quote that I live by at all times, and that is the making of a champion. Today, I gave all I had. What I've kept is lost forever. Thank you very much, Eastern Michigan.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 37th Annual E-Club Athletic Hall of Fame. My name is Robin Baughan. I am this year's president of the E-Club, and I will serve as today's MC. Whether you have come from across town like I did or across the country, welcome home to EMU. I would like to start off by recognizing some special people with us today. Please help me welcome back past inductees in the Parade of Hall of Famers, and please hold your applause until we're finished. To start us off, from the class of 2004, softball player and E-Club board member, Melissa Bader. Next, Kelly Baudette from the class of 1999. Track and gymnastics athlete and E-Club board member, Howard Booth from class of 2011. From the class of 2000, basketball star Jack Brusewitz. From the class of 1995, baseball player John Clay. From the class of 1987, Glenn Davis. From the class of 2001, Angie Fielder. From the class of 1987, Marvin Johnson. From the class of 1978, Daniel Kirksey. From the class of 2000, Jim Nelson. From the class of 1995, football star Larry Ratcliffe. Person who worked on us all and kept us healthy from the class of 2005, Doc Rozier. From 2011, John Schmidt. From the class of 2004, Jim Streeter. From the class of 2009, another person that kept us well, Gary Strickland. And to finish off, from the class of 1997, track star and E-Club board member Eugene Thomas. Welcome back. Go ahead, turn your seats. What a great way to start off this event. And it's only going to get better because we have a wonderful class here today and you are in for a treat. Each year, the E-Club is proud to help bring the great tradition and history of EMU athletics alive through the Hall of Fame ceremonies. The E-Club is a chartered alumni chapter through the Alumni Association. Our executive board and membership are comprised of former varsity letter winners from a variety of eras. This board serves a distinct purpose to the university and to EMU athletics. First, we stand to promote and preserve tradition, pride, loyalty across all letter winners of this university. We also recognize outstanding athletic achievement among current EMU athletes through the annual Scholar Athlete Recognition Program. Also, we honor letter winners who have brought distinction to themselves and our university, the purpose for which we are today. Keeping that tradition and the Block E alive, I would like to recognize the alumni letter winners with us today. All letter winners, please stand and be recognized, and thank you for supporting the event today. Thank you again so much for being here. A few special notes before we get started with the ceremony. First, I'd like to recognize our Hall of Fame sponsors. Please help me thank Howard and Luann Booth, Mark Daly, John Gates, Catherine Henriksen, Lori Hubbard, Hildred Lewis, John Schmidt, and Thomas Smith. Their generous support to help this event happen is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is the leader of EMU athletics. Athletic Director Dr. Derek Gregg has done a wonderful job here at EMU and has made a significant positive impact on this program. Not only has his direction led EMU athletics to 25 MAC championships, but this past semester, our student athletes posted a 3.201 cumulative grade point. I can't imagine. The best GPA in athletics history. Derek, we appreciate the hard work that you've put into making EMU athletics great, not only on the field, but in the classroom. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Derek Gregg.
Good morning. I'm here to welcome you on behalf of the Department of Athletics, and I've been here almost 7 years, and this is always our most key and stalwart event, and I love the way that everyone comes back. The tradition we have here is just excellent, and there are a lot of important people here in the room, but I want to first recognize the inductees for today. We hosted them last night, and I can truly tell you that they are a first-rate, first-class group of people. So Sharon, Ivory, Eric, Brian, and Jerry, thank you for all that you've done. And I always have a quote, and John Wooden once said, people usually know what they should do to get what they want. They just won't do it. They won't pay the price. So I thank you for paying the price and doing the things that you did here to help us lay the foundation for this outstanding program that we stand on your foundation today. So please give them a round of applause. I also want to thank someone publicly, and this embarrasses Jim Streeter, but a lot of you know Jim, and he's shaking his head right now. Jim served this institution for almost 40 years as our sports information director, and COSIDA, the National Sports Information Directors Society or Association, is honoring him with a Lifetime Achievement Award down at the NACDA convention in June. So please, a round of applause for him. And funny story about Jim, when he decided he was going to retire, he came into my office in September, during the middle of football season, by the way, and he had 2 words. He said, "I'm done." And I was very envious of that because I want to one day be able to do that. When it's time to hang it up and you know it, to be able to go out on your own terms has been fabulous. And actually, he won't even be able to accept his Lifetime Achievement Award. I have to do it for him because he's going to be golfing somewhere. So that's the way to retire for sure. So our hats off to Jim. I also want to publicly recognize all of the great people who were standing here on the stage prior, the Hall of Fame inductees. And as I said last night, a lot of things have changed, and I know you've noticed it. Even this room that you're in was not here when most of you or all of you were student athletes here. But the one thing that has remained constant and remained the same here is our tradition. And so I appreciate and congratulate you and thank you for coming back. Now, it's spring break, so a lot of our student athletes and coaches aren't here, and they're on the road. A lot of the teams are traveling. But I do want to honor them, and I always thank them publicly. You heard about the championships and the GPA, and I take no credit for that. Outstanding athletic programs are built on the shoulders and the backs of outstanding coaches and student athletes and our staff members. And we do have some staff members here in the back, athletic staff members, Greg Steiner, Mike Malik. If you would please stand and we give them a round of applause as well. Outstanding. And of course, days like this cannot take place without somebody being the taskmaster and keeping us on track. So Jessica, she's back here. Thank you for all you do. Please, a round of applause for her as well. And now, last but not least, and I said I've been here 7 years, but I was at 4 institutions prior to coming here, and I had never seen the type of presidential support that an athletic program that we have here with our current president. And she is our staunchest supporter. She doesn't miss many things at all. I know she has to get on a plane right after today's basketball game to go back and do the things that she does and get back to her day job. But we appreciate all the support that Dr. Susan Martin has given us, and she is a big part of those championships you heard about. So please welcome to the stage, Dr. Susan Martin.
Thank you, Derek. And also like to, I know many of you met, and we have Ann Thompson, our new alumni director here, and Vicki Reum, our secretary to the Board of Regents, many of you know from her alumni director position in the past, and Greg Sheldon, president of Alumni Association. I'm sure I'm missing some others, but I just want to welcome you to Eastern on this beautiful, wintry, snowy day. And I just want to tell you that things are going great here. The attitude on campus is very high. People are very proud of Eastern, the community, the alumni, our friends, our students, and we have more students than ever on campus. This fall, we had 5,076 new students, our largest incoming class, undergraduate class in the 163-year history of the institution, the most academically prepared, the most diverse. We have 400 more students living on campus, and we have over 11,000 applications for fall 2013, so we expect to follow that record class in 2012 with another in 2013. We have doubled the size of the Honors College. The performance of our student athletes on the field and in the classroom is improving. We're going to do many things to improve academic advising to support our students and many things to improve our service to them. We have continued to hire faculty, we've increased financial aid, and we've done a lot to fix up the facilities. When you go to the basketball arena today, you know, and we've done little things. If you look out here, you'll see Bowen Fieldhouse. We did new windows on the side. Last year we did the windows on the end. We just keep working at all of this. There are tennis courts now for the tennis program, new locker rooms being finished for women's soccer and for tennis right near the fields. And we knew the indoor practice facility you can see. And at the Convocation Center 3 years ago, we fixed the bleachers. We got new bleachers. Then last year we got a new floor. And this year we have a new amazing scoreboard, which is great for basketball, but it's fantastic for our commencement and for 20 high school commencements held there. That facility is one of the best in the Midwest and truly a front door that shows what Eastern is to many of our communities. So I just want to congratulate all of our award winners today. This is always a very emotional and moving ceremony, and you can be very proud of receiving this award here with your family and friends, because it is quite an accomplishment to be inducted into the Athletics Hall of Fame. And we welcome you and thank you for coming back to receive this great honor with your friends. Go Eastern!
There is another group of people that I want to recognize before we get started. One of the wonderful benefits of being on the E-Club board is that not only do we do some great work, we help organize this event, the Scholar Athlete Banquet that you've all heard about already, but you make friends. And over my years on the board, I have not only made some great relationships with the board in a working sense, but some great friends too. So I'd like the E-Club board members to stand as I call your name and remain standing, and please hold your applause. Secretary Jack Johnson, who we could not do without. Board members Tommy Averett, who's not here today, Melissa Bader, Ken Beamer, who's in Florida today, and we're all jealous of that, Howard Booth, Angie Fielder, Hildred Lewis, who couldn't be with us today, Jim Nelson, Steve Knopfs, who also couldn't be with us today, our newest board members, Jenny Scherer, Jim Streeter, who we could not do without, Eugene Thomas, and Eric Wallin. Thank you so much for all your support. In 2008, the E-Club board announced a new award that would be given at the Hall of Fame ceremony, but only in years when there was a deserving candidate. Today we will be giving away the Ron Ostrike Distinguished Service Award for only the 4th time. And there's probably not a person in this room who doesn't know who Ron Ostrike is and what he gave to you, to EMU and the athletic program. And he's our founder and the reason we do what we do. The first award was, of course, given to Coach O himself, then to Ed Mazinski and Jack Johnson. This year's recipient is our very own Jim Streeter. Here to help make the presentation to Streets is Hall of Famer and E-Club board member Eugene Thomas.
Good morning, everyone. First thing I'm going to do, I told Robin I'm going to put a disclaimer out there. For those who have never been to, this is your first Hall of Fame induction. In the past, presenters were given the opportunity to talk about the inductee. And at that time, presenters were averaging 30 minutes to 15 minutes per speech. So what they did is they did videotape to, shut them up. But then when they told me I was going to present Jim, they said, well, you'll be the presenter. I said, good, I don't have to say anything. They said, no, you got to get a speech. So I said, oh, man. And they know I'm long-winded, so to help myself out, I'm going to put my stopwatch on and start it so that I'll know exactly how long I'm not going to take. A lot of the thunder that I was going to say for Jim has already been said. I mean, you can say no more about what he's been able to do and accomplish here at the university. When I talked to him, he said to make it short and make it sweet. He just told me to be gentle. And he also said that this award, this ceremony is basically for the Hall of Fame inductees, which I totally agree. But Streeter has been here for, I'm not going to say 30 years. I'm going to make it 39 years, 40 years. I'll make it seem longer, 4 decades. And the sad thing about it, I've been with him those 4 decades. He's been able to separate himself as an administrator, as an alumni, and been able to keep, especially the older athletes, and I'm looking out there, some of the guys, like Ivory and Radcliffe. When we were here, we had very large egos. And as sports information director, Jim had to find a way to to give us all our airtime, because we all want, how come I'm not in the Echo? How come I'm not in the Echo? How come I'm not this? And he had to, okay. And we all found a way to make it easy and happy. I was not going to say anything about his accomplishments, as I thought they would have it in the program, and they shot me a curveball, and they didn't. But you know, some of the things that Jim has been able to do, speaks for us. Dr. Craig already spoke on some of those things. Like I said, he's graduated in '73. Oh, guess what, Robin? I didn't start my watch. And the track man didn't do it. The track man didn't do it, so I'm putting my eyes on so I can see. 73, assistant sports information director, then he went into the director. And from that point on, Jim has seen it all as far as EMU athletics. He's seen bowl games. He's seen the Sweet 16. He's seen conference championships, MAC, Central Collegiates. He's also seen national titles, NAIA, NCAA. So he's been a big part of the university here. He also, I said, for the last 15 years as a board member, I've seen him demonstrate a lot of passion when it comes to what he thinks the athletic department should be going, what he thinks the alumni should be doing, and how he feels the direction that we're going as a board member. And to me, that is what the Ron Ostrike Distinguished Service Award is all about. Someone who gives with a passion back to the university. I mean, he's been here for 4 decades, and he's seen a lot of administrations come and go, but he's been the rock. He's always been there. You know, he's been the one that everyone has been able to lean on to and ask, what can I do here? What can I do to make this better? What can I do to make that better? So, I mean, it's been something that we've been very proud of, to have him on the as the liaison for us in the board. I've been proud to know him as a board member and as one of those little arrogant, almost cussed, athletes from those days. So he's always kept me in check. So I'm going to cut it short. I did about 5 minutes. And I would like for everyone to help me welcome and present to you the Ron Ostrike Award winner, Jim Streeter.
Thanks very much. Good job. Well, Gene's taken all my time, so thank you, and we'll get to dinner. But thanks to everybody here, and obviously all the E-Club board for this great award. And having an award with somebody's name on it is always extra special, and it even means a lot more when Oak was the first winner, but then Ed Mazinski and Jack Johnson, 2 of the finest people you'll ever meet, won the award before me, so it makes it even more special. Also, I want to thank my family for putting up with 40 years of what one of my colleagues calls playing in the athletic sandbox. My wife, Mary, and my sons, Andrew, Michael, and David, thank you for all your patience and forgiving me for all the time away from home on trips. Mary and I both came to Eastern in 1966, and I didn't really know much about the athletic program, but I knew I liked athletics. And the legends of the university in the athletic department at that time were Elton Rynearson, who's a stadium named after Lloyd Olds. IM building is named after. George Marshall, trackman, who the track's named after. And Bingo Brown, who has a dorm named after him. And by the time we finished and I started at Eastern, a new set of legends had already been kind of getting started and getting into the prime of their careers. Bob Parks with track, Mike Jones in swimming, and Ron Ostrike in baseball. And what those three did to this day is totally amazing on the national and international level. And it's interesting that the year, I started in 74, 75 as the director. In 1975, we were 5th in the College World Series with a baseball team coached by Oak. And in 76, we were 2nd and got to the finals without losing a game before getting eliminated by Arizona. And to think of those feats today are just amazing for a Northern team to get all the way to the College World Series. But it just kind of shows you what kind of leadership Eastern Michigan had in those days, as Parks and Jones also took national teams all over the place and were great. And just a little story about Oak. When I first started, John Fountain, my boss, put me in charge of baseball. So I traveled with baseball, went on all the trips, did all the home games. And back in the old days, we did stats by hand, and you had to literally, after a doubleheader, take sheets and fill out all the stats and update them and all those kind of things. And Ostrike was a stickler for detail. So when I first went on the first couple trips, I'd run in and I'd finish the stats up, make all the calls back home, finish the stats up, and give them to him. And everything seemed really good. Well, we ended up losing a couple games. So I walked into Oak and I said, Oak, I got your stats. He says, take those blankety-blank stats and shove them you know where. So I knew at that time there was a time to take him stats and there was a time not to take him stats. And obviously the award, I feel a little embarrassed getting it because all of the things that Oak did over his career are just astounding for someone from the Midwest. He went on to become the National Baseball Coach of the Year in '76. He was the president of the American Baseball Coaches Association and also in their Hall of Fame nationally. So, you know, it's really special for me to get this award. And the real connection that Oak had with the E-Club was that the E-Club was really foundering through probably after starting our first Hall of Fame in '76. From in the mid-'80s, it almost died out. There was no interest. There was no passion by anybody to really keep supporting it. And Oak took it upon himself to become the man that was going to resurrect it. And he helped get the E-Club room going at the stadium. We beefed up the Hall of Fame, and everything he did was really great. So a lot of these things would not have happened without Oak's connection with athletics. And even today, anytime we have any kind of fundraising activities or something that we want to do to try to get people involved or to raise money, we use Ron Ostrike as one of the names of the letters that we send out, and it gets immediate response from almost 60% of the people we send it to. So those are the kind of legendary things that he did, and I'm totally appreciative of getting this award, and thank everybody for coming today. Thank you.
Well, now it's time for some magical moments as we induct our newest class of E-Club Hall of Famers. Our first inductee of the day is Eric Hendrickson. Let's enjoy a video about Eric's career.
Eric Hendrickson is a 1983 graduate who double majored in biochemistry and German while maintaining a 3.96 GPA. Henrikson's accomplishments were not limited to the classroom. He would prove himself to be one of the greatest runners in EMU history. The All-Mid-American Conference performer would set many records during his time at EMU. Henrikson ran 1:48.01 in the 800 meters, still 7th on the all-time list, as well as 3:42.88 in the 1500 meters, still 6th on the all-time list. Henrikson's reputation preceded him both on and off the track.
Eric was a good teammate. Everybody looked up to him for both his work ethic on and off the track. A lot of our training wasn't done at practice. We had morning runs. Eric was always at those. He worked hard at every practice he was at. He also set quite the example as a student. He was a double major in German and biochemistry, and everybody knew that when the kind of time he put into training, he also put into his academics.
A career-defining moment for Eric was at the 1983 MAC Outdoor Meet at Bowling Green. Here, future Olympian and bronze medalist Earl Jones, Eric, and Steve Reichard went 1, 2, 3 in the 1500-meter race. Eric's time broke all standing MAC, varsity, stadium, and Michigan intercollegiate records, qualified him for the NCAA championship, and aided EMU in taking the team title. In addition to the hard work Eric put into running, he equally applied himself to his studies.
Eric was just as driven to be a successful student as he was a runner, and maybe even more so, because he knew he wasn't going to be a runner for all his life. And while he might have been a runner his whole life, he wasn't going to be running at this level for his entire life. So he knew his academics were important. He had to miss a meet to take the GREs to get into grad school, because that was extremely important to him. And he went on, and he went right from grad school right into his PhD, right into a job, and right into the job he has now at the University of Arizona.
Eric worked hard, but he also pushed those around him to new heights.
As hard as he worked to make himself a success, he would work just as hard to help you be a success.
In 1983, Eric earned the title USA Today Academic All-American and will be remembered as one of the greatest runners and students Eastern Michigan University has known. Eric is now a professor of physiology at the University of Arizona. It is for Eric's excellence as a runner, teammate, and student that he's being inducted into the E-Club Athletic Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Henrikson.
First of all, I'd like to know where all the hair went. Whew, it's been a long time. I'd like to thank the E-Club for this incredible honor and being able to come back and see people that I haven't seen in 30 or more years. There are lots of people to thank for this. First, I'd like to recognize my wife and my daughter, Caitlin, and her boyfriend, Anthony, who have come to join me at the ceremony here. My wife and I got married about halfway through the outdoor track season, my last year at Eastern, and we did go on a honeymoon after the wedding, and I remember hauling her out to a local high school track because I still had to work out. The track season wasn't over, and I forced her to call interval times for me at the track. She'd be running back and forth from the start to the 200-meter line, and I think she got as much of a workout that day as I did. But I want to recognize her. She's been my #1 fan and my #1 supporter, both when I was at Eastern and also in the 30 years since I graduated, since we got married. I'd like to recognize my coach, Bob Parks, at Eastern. Bob recruited me from Portage Northern High School here in the state, where I was one of the top 2 or 3 high school milers in the country at that time. So I came to Eastern in the fall of 1978 with great expectations. And unfortunately, I got injured right off the bat. And it was a very severe leg injury. And as time went on, I seriously wondered whether I was going to be able to continue at any point in competing. And I also recall that there were other opportunities that came up at Eastern academically while I was injured. And one of them was to be able to go to Germany through the help of the Department of German at that point in time. And I was over there in Germany and wondering, am I ever going to be able to run again? And I wrote Coach Parks from Germany, and I said, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to compete on the track team again. I'd like to give back the scholarship that I was getting at that time. And Coach Parks wrote back and said, I don't want your scholarship, I want you. And that made a huge impression on me, and I got back from Germany after that summer and had renewed enthusiasm to try to overcome the injury. And interestingly, the man that finally performed surgery on me, Dr. Waldemar Roser, is an inductee to this Hall of Fame. So he conducted surgery on my leg in 1979. And thank you, Dr. Roser, was successful, and I was able to continue my training and achieve the achievements that I've made here. So I'd like to thank Coach Parks for his perseverance and belief in me. I'd also like to thank my teammates that I had at Eastern during my time there. Steve Van Loten is kind enough to be a presenter for this ceremony, but I'd also like to mention some other very important people from that time. Chris Lezovich, Dan Shamia, Steve Regard, Michael Calhoun, and last but definitely not least, Earl Jones, who is undoubtedly the greatest middle distance runner to grace the halls of Eastern Michigan, who the year after I graduated went on to win the bronze medal at the Olympics in the 800 meters. One of the things that I learned at Eastern and I've carried on into my professional career is to, number one, surround yourself by talented and motivated individuals, and then to demand excellence, both from them as well as from yourself. And that certainly was the case here at Eastern with my teammates, and has carried on into my professional career in academic research, teaching, and administration. So I learned some valuable lessons during my time here at Eastern. So in closing, I'd just again like to thank the E-Club for this incredible honor, and I accept it on behalf of myself and on behalf of my teammates from Eastern when I ran there. Thank you very much.
Congratulations again, Eric. Our second inductee today is football linebacker Ivory Wesley Hood. Please roll the tape on Ivory.
Ivory Wesley Hood, class of 1971, is one of the most outstanding and decorated linebackers in EMU history. Hood made it clear that he was here to stay, leading the team in tackles 3 of his 4 seasons as a starting linebacker. After being recruited, Hood started as a long snapper in 1965. However, it would not take long for the intense hitter to make a name for himself in his choice position as a linebacker.
His freshman year, which was in 1965, Ivory was the long snapper. And he wasn't a very large guy, but he was a very tenacious and a very ferocious hitter. And so his sophomore year, in 1966, Ivory started playing linebacker.
It was tenacity that led the 4-year letterman to be selected as team captain in 1968. and to be named the NAIA District 23 first team pick in 1966, 1967, and 1968. Hood was also named First Team Collegiate All-State and Small College Honorable Mention All-America in 1967. Hood was a leader on and off the field.
Ivory was well respected, and he was looked up to by all of the players on the team. And the reason for that was that Ivory led by example. He wasn't a big talker, but he was a very passionate talker. When he did speak, everyone listened. But Ivory showed us on the field, this is the way you play. He went 110% all the time.
Ivory Hood was drafted by the United States Army in 1969 and served his country for 3 years in Germany. But that was not enough to keep Ivory from football. Hood was a linebacker for the United States Army Aschaffenburg, Germany Cardinals as an outside linebacker, and won the 1969 USSAR Championship against the Berlin Bears, 6-0. Upon returning from serving his country in 1971, Hood earned his Bachelor of Science from the College of Education and later his graduate degree in 1978. Ivory went on to coach and teach in the Willow Run School District and retired after 31 years of service. It is without a doubt Ivory Hood's athletic accomplishments that warrant his induction into the E-Club Athletic Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ivory Wesley Hood.
Good morning. I would like to give a few thank yous before I say anything. I'd like to thank Eric Wadleen, one of my ex-teammates and roommate, for nominating me for this prestigious award. I would also like to thank Herman Humes, another roommate and ex-teammate, for his encouraging words. Thank you. I am truly honored and humbled not only to be considered to be an inductee into the Hall of Fame, but to be selected. I am really blessed. Before I say anything else, I would like to make a little statement. Recently, one of the presidential candidates made a statement that seemed to cause millions of people to become upset. And it caused a kind of a firestorm of controversy. And I'm paraphrasing the statement. It was, no one can be successful without the help of others. To me, there's no controversy in this truth. We all need help. First, I would like to thank my parents who have passed for giving me certain values. And my father, he only was able to get a third grade education, but he always instilled in his children the fact that people can take your money, your home, your job, but they can never take what's up there. And such things as education or skill that you learned. And I really appreciate him trying to instill this in all my siblings and myself. Secondly, I'd like to thank my wife of 43 years, Sylvia Hood. She's been my anchor in the many ups and downs of life, the goods and the bad. But she's always been there. And she just didn't hold my hand for 43 years. She's a retired school teacher, a retired educational consultant. She's a very proficient public speaker, and she's a member of many professional organizations. I love you, Sylvia. Thank you. Secondly, I would like to thank Eastern Michigan University. And I would like to thank my many friends and classmates who supported me during the EMU years. Some of them being the Albion connection of Jim Streeter, Mel Anglin, and Jim Scott. The Theta Gamma Omega Psi brothers of mine, and many, many others. Thank you very much. Under that Eastern Michigan umbrella, I would also like to thank my teammates, because they the one that made it all happen. Dave Purefoy, Hilda Lewis, Lonnie Head, just too many people just to even state, just so very, very many of them. And I appreciate, because they made all this happen. I want to, also under this Eastern Michigan umbrella, I would like to thank my professors and coaches. And that would be men like Dean Gilden, my biology professor, Dean Giles, Frosty Fazaka, Coach Raymond, and Coach Boyster. I'm going to give my last thank you to a very important person, and that was Ron Ostrak. Ron was my first linebacker coach. People don't know he coached football also. And it was my second year at Eastern, and I had, it was a summer practice, and I had led the team in tackles the previous season, and I was feeling pretty good about myself. And the first week of practice, they put the depth charts up. And to my surprise, I was third string. And I called Ron reluctantly to the side and said, "Ron, what's up? What happened?" And he told me, he said, it was a transition between Raymond and Boyster. And he said, the new regime doesn't believe in 200-pound middle linebackers. I said, "Ron, what I'm gonna do?" He said, "What I'm gonna do, Ivory, there's a scrimmage I'm gonna put you up in a scrimmage against the first team offense, and you gotta show them what you can do." The rest is history. I destroyed the first string offense. I received my first string position back, and went on to become a successful football player at Eastern Michigan University, which probably led to this day. So, I don't know who it is, but yes, you need help to be successful. Thank you very much.
I have to say, when I first came to EMU, I remember Ivory Hood, and those were some mean guys that were on that field, and a very talented team. And congratulations from all of us, Ivory. Our next inductee is one of EMU's top women basketball players, Sharon Rose Schwartz. Let's see her video.
In 1987, Sharon Schwartz graduated from Eastern Michigan University as one of the most talented and celebrated athletes in EMU's history. The skilled basketball player earned 4 varsity letters from 1984 to 1987 under the direction of Coach Kathy Hart. Schwartz also ranks highest in EMU history for blocked shots in a single season, with 78 total blocked shots.
As a freshman coming in, I viewed Sharon as a leader. She was, in fact, a captain on the team. And I think a lot of the younger girls respected her, and I think they looked to her. It was easy to get to know her, on the court and off the court.
Sharon is EMU's all-time career record holder with 144 shots blocked, which stands 10th all-time in the Mid-American Conference. On February 21st, 1987, Sharon set yet another record, achieving the highest single-game record by blocking 9 shots without committing a foul. Sharon was a star on and off the court. Teammate Janice Marshall recalls,
I only wish that I had the dedication and the wherewithal to study as hard and to be as academically driven as Sharon was. I looked to Sharon as a role model in regards to academics. Most important was academics, secondary was basketball, but you would never know that.
Sharon finished her career at EMU ranked second all-time in rebounds with 684 and 8th in points scored with 766 and graduated cum laude. In 1990, Sharon began to work for Ford Motor Company, and she still works there today in the finance organization. Her work at Ford led her to a 2.5-year assignment in England. While in England, she played first baseman on the 1996 National Slow Pitch Softball Championship team and was named Female MVP.
Sharon's a well-rounded athlete. It doesn't matter. Give her a basketball, give her a baseball glove, give her a golf club, Sharon could play it. And she can outdo the boys a lot of times.
Sharon is also the proud mother of 2 sons, William and Nicholas, and 1 new granddaughter, Avery. Sharon Schwartz's athletic accomplishments and stellar representation of EMU athletics make her the ideal inductee into the E-Club Athletic Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sharon Rose Schwartz.
That was not my favorite hairdo. I guess that's a sign of the times. I want to thank the E-Club for this great honor of being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I share it with 3 of my teammates. Kelly Hebler Baudette, who's here today. She came all the way from Texas to be with us. Sharon Brown Calhoun, who I think is going to join us later today. Where are you, Sharon? Oh, there you are. Wonderful. Hadn't seen her yet. And Joanne Lefevre McBroom. She lives in Kansas. She really wanted to be here, but it was just too far of a trip for her. But we're going to try to use our technology of our phones to, I forget what you call it, to face whatever, on the iPhones later today, so that she can see everybody that's here today. I proudly shared in each of my teammates' Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, and I have to say that over the years, my husband, Matt, he's asked me many times, Sharon, do you think you'll ever be inducted into the Hall of Fame? And my honest answer was no, I really didn't see this coming. I've always felt that the pleasure of representing Eastern Michigan on the women's basketball team and the friendships that I gained and the lifelong lessons that we learned was more than enough reward for the hard work and dedication that was required of a student athlete. When I arrived on this campus 30 years ago as a freshman, I immediately felt like I fit in because I was part of a team. I had a circle of friends, and I finally embraced my 6-foot frame and my long arms and my giant size 12 feet because I saw that as an outward sign of being a student athlete. My mom is an only child, and she once told me that she had 4 daughters because she wanted us to have each other throughout our lives as we were growing older. And one of the passions that we share among my 3 sisters and I, are sports. And we've played a variety of sports when we were in school, but, you know, between track and softball and volleyball, of course, basketball. So I'm very grateful for the sacrifices that my parents made so that we could participate in sports. It's a passion that we have passed down to our children. My parents and my grandparents and a lot of my relatives, they've been to a lot of games over the years. I was extremely fortunate to have fantastic coaches when I was in high school. One of my coaches, Keith Rich, he's here today. And what I credit Mr. Rich with is teaching me how to shoot. Mr. Rich drove me and a few of my teammates to the best attended shooting camp in the United States in Richmond, Indiana. And we received instruction from the subject matter experts. And then when we got back, Mr. Rich went as far as to paint these black handprints on our basketballs so that when we were in practice, we would be sure to put our hands in the right position on the ball. And then I can still remember how frustrated we were the first week of practice when he covered all of the baskets in the gym with a plastic bubble. You know how you wait all summer, you can't wait to shoot? Well, the ball couldn't go through the rim because he put this cover over the top, and the purpose of that was so that we would just focus on our technique. Sometimes, you know, you can be practicing bad habits, and the ball can still go in the hoop. He didn't want that for us, so he went out of his way to teach us the skills of shooting. The other coach that I had in high school, her name is Helen Smith. She was not only my basketball coach, but my softball coach, and before that, my middle school gym teacher. And she's been inducted actually into the Michigan High School Softball Coaches Association of Hall of Fame. She not only taught us the fundamentals of the game, but she expected her ladies to give 110% all the time. 100% was never good enough for her. And she challenged us to become mentally and physically tougher every single day. Cheating would never be tolerated because if you were to cheat even 1 inch, you know, you were cheating not only yourself, but you were cheating your team. And she always taught us to respect our opponents, but never to be intimidated. When I was a senior in high school, I was only able to play 5 games. I suffered a knee injury. I'd actually hurt it the year before in softball, rehabilitated over the summer. And then after our 5th game, we were warming up in the locker room, just stretching, and something happened to my knee. And I needed to have, as it turned out, some minor surgery. And the doctor said, oh, you'll probably be back in about 6 weeks. And that was about the length of our season. So I was just so hopeful that I'd be able to come back, you know, to participate in a few games at the end of the season, maybe even districts, but that never really happened. I never was strong enough. The doctor never gave me the green light. So you might wonder, well, how the heck did I get a college basketball scholarship? The way it started really is I was fortunate to receive an offer from Saginaw Valley, which is a Division II school in the area of where I was raised, which was Montrose, Michigan. And one of the teammates in high school, Jackie Grace, she was a phenomenal athlete, both basketball and softball. Coach Hart saw an article about her in the the Flint Journal. She was named the Player of the Week. And so Coach Hart called Jackie and said, Jackie, will you come down for a tryout? And Jackie said, well, hey, I've got this 6-foot friend. Do you mind if I bring her along? She's interested in playing ball too. So we both came to Eastern for the tryout, and as fate would have it, Jackie received a softball scholarship, I received a basketball scholarship, and we roomed together our freshman year in Weiss Hall. So it worked out perfectly. I'd like to thank Coach Hart. I wish she could have been here today. She's traveling in Canada. She's retired now. And I feel so fortunate that she took a chance on me. She offered me the scholarship when I didn't have a senior year to speak of. She and her coaching staff gave me the tools to compete at the college level. And I always felt that she was extremely generous to me in terms of playing time, even for my freshman year. I think I started maybe half the games. So I was one of the players that never had a complaint about playing time. In closing, I'd like to express my gratitude to Robin Bond of the E-Club. She's the one that rocked my world 9 months ago when she gave me a call. She took my breath away. I said, Robin, you wouldn't really joke about something like this, would you? She said, of course not. To Jessica, she's like my new friend. She's wonderful. We went back and forth quite a bit about today's events, and she works very hard to make this special for all of us. Also, I'd like to thank Courtney Howe from the Athletic Promotions Department. She's allowing for all of the basketball players, both boys and girls, to attend today's game from the school where my kids attend, which is Jefferson School District in Monroe. I'm secretly hoping to move up on the cool mom scale today, because hopefully they'll have a lot of friends in attendance. To my husband, Matt, who was so good to me, and to my sons, Billy and Nicholas, who are my greatest accomplishment, I really appreciate their patience over the last few months, because you might say that I sort of converted our study into a low-budget private detective agency. I've been searching for my teammates. I really wanted them to, first of all, I really wanted to speak to them, to touch base with them. It's been so many years, but then also to invite them to come today, because I really couldn't imagine receiving this recognition without them being here. So in closing, to all of my family and friends, and there's a couple in the back from Ford Motor Company, where I work, that are here today, I really want to thank everyone for coming. I feel so blessed to receive this accomplishment and showing of support with so many people here in the crowd to be with me today. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Sharon, and no, I'd never kid about that. Our next inductee is men's basketball great Brian Tolbert. Let's see some of the great moments that make Brian a Hall of Famer.
Brian Tolbert is by far one of the most impressive shooters in Eastern Michigan University basketball history. Brian's athletic success at EMU was founded on years of experience from his childhood. At St. Martin de Porres High School, Brian showcased an ability that would lead him to college hoops fame.
Brian was a tremendous part of our success. He was our leading scorer. He had been around his brother who was there before us, and he had been aware of all the traditions and the things that came about, and he helped to bring us aboard with that tradition of winning and excellence, and we kind of looked to him as our leader, and he helped us to grow and be successful.
After a successful high school career, Brian attended EMU and was named first team All-Mid-American Conference and the most valuable player in the MAC tournament in 1995-1996. Brian was also a second team All-MAC selection in 1994-1995. Brian's leadership was evident, even to others not on the team. Best friend and, at the time, opponent, David Moore recalls.
We actually played them when I was in Cleveland. We played against Eastern Michigan our freshman year, and he was out there talking to, the guys on Eastern like he used to talk to us in high school. So it was like, he was the same person. He was still a leader.
At the finish of his 4-year career at EMU, Brian became the 4th leading scorer in school history, with 1,726 points scored. Of those points, Brian was also second leading three-point shooter in EMU history with 204, but he was far from done. Brian went on to play internationally in several countries, most recently helping his team win the championship in Israel. Brian has since retired, but still makes time to do what he loves.
Brian, he still plays when he can, when he has the opportunity, tries to stay in shape. He has a sugar addiction, so he has to stay on the court because, I mean, he has sweets all the time. Going to Brian's house is like going to your grandma's house where she always had a pie or a cake or a dish of candy or whatever. That's Brian's house now. He might not have like eggs and bacon, but he'll have some cookies and cream for sure.
To this day, Brian remains one of the most talented athletes in EMU basketball history. It is for these accomplishments that Brian Tolbert is being inducted into the E-Club Athletic Hall of Fame.
Please join me in welcoming Brian Tolbert.
Wow, that's a bright light right there. I've never had any problems being in front of a group of people playing basketball, but right now I must say this is very humbling. I'm nervous to talk to you right now, to be honest. It's going to get a little emotional for me in a minute, but just bear with me. But first, I would like to say, E-Club, thank you. This is wow, blindsiding. I didn't see it coming. Streeter texted me and said I was being inducted, and it didn't register. Trying to do too many things in the morning, and when it finally hit me, I was like, wow, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame. Like, wow, so maybe I did do something when I was up there, huh? I just wasn't running around, a little snotty-nosed kid from hanging out in Walton Putnam and the eateries and Bowen Field House. Wow, I know the Convocation Center looks beautiful, but Bowen Field House was our house. And the day we came in the gym and we played Wisconsin, and we had the rollaway bleachers. They had them on the ends. I was like, yeah, we done did something. We done did something. So, I must say for myself, I have to say thank you to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ first, because I say that because for me to be up here with those words, Hall of Fame, it comes from a Hall of Fame mother. Sacrifice. Usually, I'm the silly one in our family. I'm the youngest of 5 boys, but I have to take this time and acknowledge a Hall of Fame mother. Because without her, I wouldn't have the direction, the love that I have for that game that I played, the discipline, the determination, and many other adjectives that I could just sit up here and blurt out. But before I say a couple more things about Mom, I have to say, I really appreciate the teammates and the coaches that I had that put up with me when they were trying to be serious and I was the silly one, because maybe I was a little bit more talented, but when it came game time, I wanted to win, and they didn't understand how he could be so silly and so serious. But I'm a Gemini, sorry. A special part of myself is my family. That is definitely always been, always will be my foundation. And wow, being the youngest of 5 boys, I never had any opinion. Whatever I said, no one heard it anyway. So, you know, to finally get up and say, I'm a part of Hall of Fame, that means I can sit here and I can talk. I know I won't go my 5 minutes, Jessica. I'm working on it, but you know, to what Dr. Gregg said about sacrifice. And my mom was the ultimate sacrificer. My first, you started working. I was about, I think 10 years old. No. Okay. Cut that out of the, yeah. No, but Mom, I'll never forget, I was in the 10th grade, and, well, let me take a step back. I was in the 9th grade, and the 9th grade was so easy to me. So I was like, oh man, high school is nothing. Oh, man, this is easy. I get to play basketball, and 10th grade got a little harder, so my grades slipped. So she said, listen, I'm Mom, and this is me right here, this imaginary person. She's like, listen, I can't pay for college, so if you want to go to college, you're going to have to get your grades together. And I never forget that. I tell that story to this day to high schoolers, kids, to my daughter. That was the defining moment in my life, to look forward, to have goals, and to set yourself up to reach the goal that you're striving for. And that was the day that I got serious about schoolwork, about the game, about trying to be successful. And growing up, I always, NBA. And when I left college, and I had a real good shot at being there, but I wasn't good enough. I was good, but I wasn't good enough. I had some things to work on. And I knew that, I understood that, I accepted that. And so when I went overseas, my first year in Australia, I had so much fun. I said, y'all can have the NBA. I'm going to play in all these other countries and experience life. And that was, wow, the best decision I could have ever made for myself. And, I could sit and say all kind of stories and talk to you guys to death, but Jessica's over there. I know I feel her over there on my neck, so I'm going to wrap this up a little bit. But to say a little bit about the NBA, when Earl got in, Earl Boykins over there, if you guys haven't seen him, when Earl got in the NBA, that was like I was in the NBA, and I would be in all these different countries. And if I couldn't see the game on the computer, I'm sitting there on the computer seeing how many minutes he played, or calling them on Skype, or just whatever. Or if I couldn't get to him, I just had to wait till the summertime, and we would catch up. And a special thanks to you, my man, because for real, you are more than a friend. I know we had some times up at Eastern when we were here that I won't, say. But those 2 years together, along with the years we've been friends, are very special, very special. But I'm gonna take it back 1 second for a couple seconds to my mom, and she has been the pillar of our family since I can remember. First it was my grandma, and she went on to glory, and then my mom, she just kind of stepped up and said, you know what, this is my family, I got this, and I cannot receive this induction without saying thank you. Thank you. There's a lot of people that helped me get here, but not even close to what you have done. And I must take this time to be brutally honest with myself and say, you know, I did this and I did that. I'm the reason why I'm here. Nah, this picture right here, you could take that down and put her face up there, honestly. And that's the truth. And I'm sorry I got a little emotional. I try to be silly at times, but I went back and forth with this for the last week. Like, this is something that I must do for myself, because recognizing my mom in this type of setting, like I said before, makes me feel that you are a Hall of Fame mom. So as I say thank you to everybody, as I walk off, I would like you to clap, not for me as a Hall of Famer, but as a Hall of Fame mom that helped me get to this induction. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Next up is the wrestling standout, Jerry Human. Please sit back and enjoy the video.
After transferring to EMU, Jerry Human only took 2 years to build a reputation as one of the finest wrestlers in EMU history. Human transferred to Eastern his junior year and managed to earn All-American honors in both 1986 and 1987, and took 7th place at 167 pounds at the NCAA Championship.
Jerry was a very successful wrestler at Oakland University, and his experience at Oakland really helped out when he transferred to Eastern Michigan. He also wrestled for the Michigan Wrestling Club, unattached, and went to a lot of wrestling tournaments his 3rd year.
Human's already impressive wrestling ability would develop further during his time competing at EMU. Human took the 2nd best single-season win-loss record in school history with 42 wins in the 1986 season.
Well, Jerry was a very successful wrestler coming out of high school. He was a state champion, a 2-time state champion, so we knew he had the skills to wrestle at the college level. And he loved to wrestle, and one of his specialties is he would win matches. He won 73 matches, and I know his junior year he won 31 matches, and he set a school record, 21 consecutive wins. And then he came back his senior year, won 42 matches, and he broke his own record of consecutive matches for 22 consecutive matches.
Jerry was not done yet. He also won the 167-pound Mid-American Conference title in the 1986 season and captured the 158-pound title both years also. Human represented EMU as a hallmark athlete and a team leader.
Jerry was very confident in himself. He was successful in athletics. He was successful in the classroom. He was successful in relationships. He was very confident. He wasn't cocky, but he was very confident in himself, and that's what made him a good student athlete. He would not be intimidated by anyone.
Jerry Human worked hard and set a high standard for future wrestlers at Eastern Michigan University. It is for this reason, for his induction into the E-Club Athletic Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Human. Yeah, I got you. Got your back, don't worry. Yeah, I know, I got you.
Can we turn the mic off? I didn't bring any notes. I didn't prepare any speech. I told him I was a man of few words. She said I could use 2, thank you, but after watching the video of that they put together there, talking about some of the things he was saying about me, I was kind of confused myself. I think he was talking about someone else. Wrestling is kind of a different sport. Takes a little bit of a different breed, I think, to be out there rolling around on the mat. But it's fun. It takes a lot of dedication. I grew up with some really good coaches, dedicated parents. My parents went to every match we could for wrestling, many as they could go to in all my sports. You know, when I went to college, of course, it's a lot harder. You're traveling, going to different states. It's a little bit more difficult to be there. But they would go to everyone that they could, and I realized how important it is for your parents, as a parent, to be with your sibling or your children. I mean, as they're young and developing in sports and even in school. And my parents were there for me. They took me to everything, and all my practices for football, baseball, wrestling. And I try to do the same with my kids. I try to coach when I can, be there. I think it's important, and tell them, education's first, athletics is second. Hopefully that you threaten them a little bit with no sports. Like Brian was saying, hey, take that basketball out of your hand, you don't pass. They start to, come through. So I think it's very important, and both of my parents are here today. I want to thank them for all the support that they've given me. Growing up, I had some great coaching, I said, in wrestling. It started out, wrestling was a fun sport, something to do. I was a little guy, small as could be. High school, first 2 years, couldn't even make 98 pounds. I was 89 pounds, weighing in with ankle weights. One time my coach from New Boston here, Tom Fritz, he's here, I'd like to thank him. He was happy, he watched me weigh in at Fenton. He says, man, Jerry, you're almost getting up to 100 pounds. That was pretty good. I lifted up my pants. I said, hey, Coach, I had ankle weights on. I wanted him to think I was a little bigger, but it was a sport you could do at any weight because you were going against somebody that's your own size. So I wanted to play football. At 98 pounds, you weren't going to do it. I did it. I played in high school, and I just didn't get the size. So it's a competitive sport, but it's a sport that anybody can compete in, and at least not necessarily be great at, but you're going against people your own size. And I've been through, and I think that's probably why I had a little bit of an attitude that, you're little, you can't do this, you can't do that. I'm like, I can do it. Wrestling, I can prove it, because all you got to do is one-on-one. Basketball, you're too short. I probably was. Football, you're too small. I think I can do it. No, I don't want you to get hurt. I'm like, let me worry about getting hurt, But, they couldn't take wrestling from me. So that's where I excelled, not necessarily where I loved it, but, I did love the sport, but might have been my least favorite. The hardest, the most grueling, took more work. But it paid for my education, and I'm grateful for that. I'd like to thank all my coaches. I started my career in New Boston as a Huron. And Tom Fritz is here, my coach. And then I transferred to Monroe Catholic Central. Got another good coach, Paul Osentoski. He helped me my last 2 years. And then I wanted to come to Eastern my first year in college. And Coach Isley, he recruited me, but he told me, you're going to have to go down to, maybe 135. We got a senior at 158 that's, really good. And I said, I'm not going to cut weight. I'm not going to go down to 135. I had enough of that. Finally growing, I want to stay there. And so I ended up getting a scholarship from Oakland. I took it, and we had a good team. I necessarily was not too dedicated at times, and still had my grades up, but I was slipping a little bit my junior year, and I got a new coach in there, or my sophomore year, and we didn't get to see eye to eye, so I called up Isley. I said, hey, I might be leaving. You think you still want me to come back after 2 years, And he told me, you get your associate's degree, you can be eligible. So I checked out of Oakland, got my associate's degree. Luckily, they gave me a scholarship, came here, and finished my career, and I had a great time. It's a great university. I'm honored to be here on stage. Never thought of this. I do appreciate it. I met a lot of great people the last 2 days. Haven't been here probably since I graduated, maybe once or twice, but the campus is beautiful, a lot of new facilities, I like it, and I'm very honored that I was inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I'd like to thank again all my coaches, my parents, my family, my wife and my kids are here too. I'd like to thank them, and the E-Club for this honor. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jerry. Now it's time for the moment of truth, the moment of induction. We're going to ask that all of our presenters come up to the Hall of Fame plaques at this time. Here to present Eric Henriksen is his teammate and longtime friend, Steve Van Loten. Eric, would you please come to the stage and accept your Hall of Fame plaque? To present Sharon Rose Schwartz is teammate and friend Janice Marshall. Sharon, please come to the stage. Here to present Brian Tolbert is teammate and friend Earl Boykins. Brian, please come and accept your Hall of Fame plaque. This is it. Here to present to Jerry Human is his coach, John Isley. Here today to present Ivory Wesley Hood is his teammate and friend, Herman Humes. Ivory, please come up and accept your plaque. There you go. Now it is time for the Hall of Fame decree. Eastern Sacred Alma Mater, to your name, we shall be true. Ever marching to victory, we'll stand by to see you through. Softly floating on the breeze, verdant green with white as snow. This, our banner, we will carry in our hearts wherever we go. To those of exemplary calling, these awards for performance of excellence, honor, and skill. You are now Hall of Famers. Let's hear it for the class of 2012. Before we dismiss, we have some housekeeping items. First, the air wall in the back of the room will be going up soon, and that will be where our lunch is. Please wait for a dining services staff to call your table. When you head to the Convocation Center for the basketball game, please be sure to visit the Hall of Fame that's in the atrium. It is the crown jewel of the facility, and the plaques for this year's inductees are already on display. We have a representative from Jostens selling the varsity E-rings that some of us have, and there are also Hall of Fame rings. So Hall of Famers can get a new ring if anybody brought their credit card and would like to purchase. You can also buy varsity letter jackets. Don't depend on being totally surprised like I was 2 years ago with a varsity jacket. It might not happen. So if you've had one that got lost in a move, today's a great chance to replace it. The proceeds from all of these sales support the E-Club. While you're in the mood to join organizations, get a representative packet for the Alumni Association. Forms are located on the literature table in the back. No event of this type can take place without hard work of a lot of people, and I've already recognized the E-Club board, and we know that we all work very hard to put this on, and it's a labor of love for us. I'd also like to thank Jessica Netziba. I'm not afraid to pronounce your name, ever. I know how to do it, from Alumni Relations. Greg Steiner from the Sports Information Department and the Office of Alumni Relations. If not for their great work, this event could not happen, so thank you so much. I'm going to stand on my soapbox for just a second. Jessica, you're not timing me. I want to make a plea to all of you today, especially the former letter winners that are out there, and I know you're out there because I got you to stand. Don't let the great feeling in this room stand just as a moment of time. Get involved. We need your help. We need your membership. We need your participation. We need your money, too. That would be great. But we can't continue to grow and enhance the wonderful tradition we have here at EMU without your help. So please get involved. Membership forms can be found in the back table and also on our beautiful new website that we just put it out this year. After lunch, I hope to see you all at the Convocation Center to be rude hosts to the Western Michigan Broncos and help our team get a big win. You should have all received game tickets in your envelopes this morning. If you don't have those, see one of us and we'll do that. We also invite you to join us in the Eagle's Nest on the second floor of the Convocation Center for some light snacks at any point during the game. Be sure to stay in your seats at halftime to watch the class of 2012 receive some special recognition. This concludes our ceremony. Thank you so much for attending and have a great day. Oh, one more thing. Someone lost a cell phone. So I have it at my table. So if you lost a cell phone, let us know. Thanks again very much. Have a great day.